Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to CryptoCoinMindSet. Appreciate you being here today, as always. Welcome. How's your week going so far? Hopefully good. It's only Monday, right? Oh, welcome. Make sure you smash up that like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe. That way you know when I go live. Really appreciate that. Because as always, I'm here to help you get your mindset on cryptocurrency. Let's see. We got a couple of people jumping in the chat. Chris, good to see you. Yes, let's go. Mike, awesome. Yes, good afternoon, sir. Appreciate you being here. Yep, we're going to talk about that. I mean, crazy, another all-time high. There are going to be plenty of all-time highs coming this year. If you ask me, I mean, that only makes sense, right? Sorry, I'm trying to fix up one other thing right now, and it's not working very well, I'll tell you what. Anyway, but yes, new all-time high, just broke 72K. Loving it. Automatic beats in the house. Yes, good morning, sir. Good morning. Appreciate you, or afternoon, depending on where you are. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, we got Bitcoin all-time high again, showing up, and I'll take that. We're going to see a lot more. I am sticking by we're going to see six figures by the time the halving comes. About 35 days out of the halving, according to the halving clock right now. So, hey, what the hell? Why not, right? I really do see that happening. Hang on. I'm trying to fix one more thing before I really get going on this live stream here. And it just does not want to go. All right. Well, crap for that. That's where we're going with that. All right, let's take a quick look at the markets because, as always, we need to start out there. We'll bring up CoinGecko. Let's refresh the page. Yep, looks like Bitcoin's dropped back a little bit. Like I said, hit an all-time high, new all-time high of 72K. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me make this a little bit larger for you right there. Here we go. Excuse me. And we better put this up there because, anyway. So yeah, right now, 71,531 for Bitcoin. And look at this, Ethereum over $4,000. I mean, still not an all-time or new all-time high for Ethereum, but you want to know what? I'm sorry. Ethereum is going to make new all-time highs as well. They just are, or it just is. It's still Monday. Wait a minute. Another cup of coffee. Cheers. All right. Anyway, we got BNB over $500 right now, up 23.9% in the last 7 days. Look at Solana, kicking ass, taking names at 146.79, up over 12%. Good for Solana. Still, I don't think Jar's got his ROI yet. I think he said it has to hit 200 for it to be an ROI, or at least a break even. But yes, you're right. Alexander, past 71, it hit over 72, new all-time high over 72. I think it's like 72.4. Excuse me, or something along that lines there, Alexander. So all right, there it is. Let's keep going here. XRP 61 cents. But believe it or not, look at that, down 5.5% at 61 cents over the last 7 days. Still, I think that's going to end up being a decent price for XRP. Cardano also down 5.5% over the last 7 days, but still up over 70 cents at 73 cents. Look at Dogecoin. Look at Dogecoin. Up 7.1% in the last 7 days and 17 cents. 17 cents. I mean, if you guys are holding Doge, you're probably doing pretty well. Sheeb up 25.5% in the last 7 days. I guess can't be shaking a stick at that. AVAX up 8%, 46.38. Looking good, looking good. Link up 2.2%, but 6.5% in the last 24 hours. And guess what? 21.09, back above that $20 mark decisively. Tron back down about 5.5% in the last 7 days. Again, I stop at Tron because, I mean, there's a lot of people in the world using the Tron network for USDT, and I think that's a worthy use of Tron. Matic up almost 8%, over $1, 121. If you bought Matic, just even a couple of months ago, you are way in profit right now, way in profit. Let's keep going down here a little bit. BCH. I like BCH for what it's meant to be. Use it to buy shit, save your Bitcoin. Down almost 3% over the last 7 days, but still $435. Litecoin, again, another one. For what it's meant to be. I mean, Litecoin is just going up and up and up, and I'm okay with that. Up almost 5% in the last 7 days, 8% of that in the last 24 hours, almost $95 on Litecoin. And then we got, and again, Litecoin, for what it's meant to be. Buy shit, save your Bitcoin. Filecoin, look at this, 11% up. I started talking about Filecoin on these live streams when it was back at $5. If you had DCA'd then, or hell, if I had DCA'd then, I'd be doubled my money right now. So shame on me for not doing that. I kept saying I was going to do it, never did it. Immutable X up 8.3% in the last 7 days, $3.49, looking good. Render, look at these Render AI project right here. I mean, AI projects in general are doing good in the cryptocurrency space right now, up 62.5% in the last 7 days for Render, up $12. Wow. All right, Stacks. I mean, if you're into Bitcoin projects in general, you're going to want to be keeping an eye on Stacks, up 2.3% in the last 7 days, over $3. Hedera, I don't know. HBAR jumped up there but came back down, 9.3% up over the last 7 days, almost 13 cents. Stellar, even though it's down over 4%, still 14 cents and holding. Let's see, Injective, pretty much even keeled right now, about $40. Caspa, can't go buy Caspa, down 6% in the last 7 days, but still up over 15 cents for Caspa. Let's see what else. Gala. Oh, well, wait, before I go to Gala, Rune, look at this. Remember, I've been complaining about Rune just kind of like sitting down there in that $4 or $5 range. And I kept saying to myself, like, why? I don't get it. This Thor chain is like the future of what we're going to be doing with regard to swapping cryptocurrency. It just is. Now, Thor chain up 60% in the last 7 days, $9. $9. One of my biggest gainers is Rune. Love it. It's good to see that going up. All right, Gala, one of the ones you can vote if we DCA into. Owned. Okay, obviously I need another sip of coffee. On Crypto on the Rocks, up 60% in the last 7 days, over 7 cents. Gala, I'll tell you what. It doesn't surprise me, but yeah. What we got here? Yep, Algo pushing 30. Yes, absolutely. I know I kind of skipped over Algo. We're going to 45. What do we got here? Adam at 20. Did I go buy Adam? I don't know. I might have. Sorry. Starting to get bags in IQ and Demo. Yeah, Demo, I get that one. Not really familiar with IQ, but Demo I know, and that's probably a smart move, Alexander. Probably a smart move. All right, let's finish up a couple more here, and then we're going to jump into what I've got for today. All right, Monero looking pretty good, 143.32. Algo right here. Speaking of Algo, up 12% at 28 cents, pushing that 30 as Alexander stated. Let's see, Beam, another one that's you can vote for on Crypto on the Rocks every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. and see if we're going to DCA into that. Beam has been a winner a few times here, up 15.6% at 4 cents at this point. And I think that's just the beginning with regard to Beam. Let's check out the Sandbox. That's another one you can vote for. 77 cents, up 10%. I like Quant, 118.81, even though it's down overall. Axie Infinity, another one you can vote for. Axie almost won once, but then it got blown out of the water. I don't know. We haven't picked up any Axie. 13.6%. And let's look at Ordi here. 75 bucks, basically 74.57. But that's down 12%. So I don't know. I still think Ordi has room to grow in this cycle. And you know what? Right here, we're going to end here with Mana, up 13.6% at 76 cents. Hopefully you caught that interview on the Matrix Money podcast that Jar and FF did with Meta Ryuk. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but talked a lot about Mana. They actually gave away some Mana during that stream. Yeah, I think Mana's got some good things going on. Decentraland got some good things going on. So hopefully you've looked into that at least. Okay. Again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, old guy, interwebs. All right. So let's see. Let's start. Okay. I'm sure if you, especially if you're on crypto Twitter, you've seen about the bank in New York Community Bank, basically tanking at the end of last week. And we're going to look at that chart in a minute and look through an article from CNN of all places, because you know what, we're trying to make sure that, CNN is definitely no conservative thing. And that way we're covering all ends of the spectrum here. But even, CNN can only say what is going on, right? Regardless of the twists they like. But let's not get down that road. Anyway, and then we had Fair. Oh my God, I need more coffee, I think. Oh. Dang. That's all I got. Dang. Maybe I should be drinking beer at this point. Anyway, then we had Fed Chair Powell testifying in front of in front of Congress, and during that testimony, and we're gonna actually listen to a little bit of that. He was talking about, there's gonna be more bank failures. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, the system is like ready to just collapse. And we're gonna look at the debt clock. We're gonna go through a lot of this stuff. Matter of fact, we may not even make everything that I put in the description of this live stream. Matter of fact, every link that I'm covering, everything I'm going through right now is linked in the description of this live stream. So go ahead, check it out on your own. And well, with the exception of the debt clock, sorry, I didn't think to put that link there, but that's easy to remember. That's USD, USdebtclock.org. Anyway, okay, so let's bring up the video of Fed Chair Powell, basically saying that he realizes there's going to be more bank collapses. Now, I'm going to let this go for a little bit. He gets into it about 2.5 minutes in, but part of what he gets into when he's talking is, well, this is smaller banks. It's not the bigger banks, so it's okay. Which is why when, the 5 banks collapsed last year, they had, got everybody to try and move to these bigger banks because they're too big to fail. And regardless what you call it, bailouts, bail-ins, whatever, which they don't want to say bailouts anymore because, that had such a negative connotation back in 2008 when everything just fell to shit. Now it's all bail-ins. They're prepared for this, and even in this section that we're about to watch, he talks about reaching out to the bank and hey, are you prepared for this? You know, da 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 da. So let's let him do the talking. And yeah, every once in a while, I'll probably chime in there because Lord knows I can't keep my big mouth shut sometimes. But let's get that. Let's listen to this here.
For all of your good work. I want to talk a little bit about the commercial real estate and what's happening there. The Financial Stability Oversight Council's 2023 annual report identified commercial real estate as a financial risk. And the Fed's monetary report also noted commercial real estate prices continue to decline, especially in the office, retail, and multifamily sectors. I'm especially concerned that because of the low levels of transactions in the office sector, prices have not yet fully reflected the true decline in the value. So can you expand on the emerging risks the Federal Reserve has identified in the commercial real estate market, one? And then I'm curious, can you discuss the compound risks identified in commercial real estate lending, particularly at banks with large CRE concentrations and high fractions of uninsured deposits?
Sure. Let me see. I think there are just very, very few transactions in commercial real estate right now, particularly in the troubled areas. So it's not a question of prices still falling. It's a question that you don't have that kind of price discovery. You just have to assume that the prices are very low and have come down a lot. So on commercial real estate, we have a secular change in people working from home. This is one big part of it. That means that in many cities,
I'm sorry, I listened to this and I think, okay, Captain Obvious. But you know, and he talks about price discovery. How the hell can you have price discovery when you ain't got nobody wanting to go and even be into commercial real estate at this point? Because you know, it used to be good, even if you're in a REIT or something along those lines. But now, you know, that thanks to COVID, it's a complete paradigm change. I mean, let's be honest here. Alexander, the devaluation of the dollar continues. Well, exactly. And that's where I'm going a little later in this, which is why Bitcoin is hitting all-time highs right now, again, against the US dollar. It's already blown away 80 other fiat currencies across the globe. And now we're sitting here, it's just all-time high after all-time high against the US dollar because the US dollar is doing its slow breakdown. Anyway, I don't want to keep putting too much of my 2 cents in here. Let's let him finish up what he's chatting about here. Oh my goodness. I love that you just said this. I love that you just said that. I was watching an interview that I actually do have queued up in the description of this live stream. Excuse me. Kitco News was doing an interview, and Grant Cardone talks about these are wartime charts. So it's kind of funny you brought that up. I'm wondering, did you actually watch that interview, Alexander? But yeah, I'm hoping we're gonna make it to that. Depends how long it takes for me to kind of get through this this first piece here. So let's oh, that's the interview you're okay, good. Yeah, I have that queued up. The link to that entire interview, everybody, that Alexander is talking about is in the description of this live stream. And yes, you're correct. He is right. You are 1,000% correct. He is looking at it from a macro view, and that viewpoint is sadly quite accurate. All right, let's get back to Powell.
The downtown office district is very underpopulated. There are empty buildings in many major and minor cities. It also means that all the retail that was there to service the thousands and thousands of people who work in those buildings, they're under pressure too. And banks will have made loans to many of those buildings, not all of them, but many. So this we've known for some years. And so what do? We have identified the banks that have high commercial real estate concentrations, particularly office and retail, and other ones that have been affected a lot. We identify them, and we are in dialogue with them around, do you have your arms around this problem? Do you have enough capital? Do you have enough liquidity? Do you have a plan? You're going to take losses here. Are you being truthful with yourself and with your owners?
What do you think the answer to that question is? I'm going to go with no. I mean, come on, think about it. I mean, these banks are, well, check out a couple of the other live streams that I did that I linked in the description of this live stream. But at the end of the day, the Fed basically screwed most of these banks when they went in to long-term treasuries, and then the Fed just with the interest rates and trashed long-term treasury holdings, put these banks in bad positions. So the fact that they're reaching out to them and asking them, hey, are you being truthful? Well, you know what? Please, just please, coming from this guy right here. I'm sorry. These people are not here, the Fed, etc. They're not here to help you and I. They're just not. That's not even in their wheelhouse at this point. All right, let's get through this because he's about to be getting into, he sees more bank failures coming.
And so we've been working with them. And so for some time, we've been doing that. And, this is a problem that we'll be working on for years more, I'm sure. There will be bank failures, but this is not the big banks. If you look at the very big banks, it's not a first order issue for any of the very large banks. It's more, smaller and medium sized banks that have these issues.
Okay. So you get the idea right here. I mean, okay, yep, there's more bank failures coming. Yep, let's just put it out there. Well, no shit. I mean, if you're paying any kind of attention to what's going on, obviously that's the case. Again, Captain Obvious right here. But he tells you, well, don't worry, it's not the big banks. Well, okay, says you, but you're right. Initially, it won't be the big banks. Initially, it'll be the smaller banks, the regional banks, etc., that will be on the proverbial chopping block and are going to collapse first. Yes, he is 1,000% correct about that. So, to that point, let's look here at the chart of New York Community. Oops, wait a minute. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you. There we go. The New York Community Bank. Okay. And look at this drop. Hold on. Let me scroll down here a little bit so you can actually see the entire chart right there. I mean, look at that. Talk about plummeting, right? These banks are in serious trouble. They're all in serious trouble. But these smaller regional banks are definitely in more trouble than obviously the bigger banks. And think about it. I mean, these smaller banks were kind of the ones when you wanted a loan for real estate or and especially commercial real estate, even homes. Where did you go? You went to your local bank, right? You went to your regional bank. You got a good rate. You were given the money easily for the most part until things started to really get out of control a couple of years ago. And so these banks, these smaller regional banks, are in heavy in mortgages. And again, with the changes since 2020, we see that now everybody working from home, right? Everybody working from home, and the demand for commercial real estate is just dropping off. Then those who were investors, etc., what happens? Well, now they can't fill their offices, and it's just a cascading problem. Now, I want to bring up that CNN article, and we're going to go through a couple of points with that. If you'll bear with me, I appreciate that. Again, if you're just jumping in, I see I got a bunch of people jumping in right now. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe, tick that bell icon, click the all. That way you get notified every time I go live or drop a video. And smash up the like, man. On your way in, smash that up. I appreciate that. It helps the channel. It really does. I'm trying to get my views up here so I can finish monetizing the channel. So appreciate your help with that. All right, let's take a look at this. Bring that up more full screen right there. Okay, so the part I want to point out right here, because it's talking about it could be the bank could be further downgraded, et cetera, et cetera. Well, no kidding, as things are dropping out here. But the company also reported 552 million in loan losses, coming primarily from the commercial real estate loans, which have plummeted in value. I mean, again, change that we see since 2020. Okay. And, people go on to blame, well, the CEO of this bank also goes on to blame the fact that they had to acquire $400 billion of assets from Signature Bank. Now, again, remember, last year, what happened? 5 banks collapsed. A couple of them, frankly, the crypto heavy ones, of which Signature was one, I think were a bit targeted by the Fed as part of Choke Point 3.0 now. But again, that's for another live stream at another time. But obviously, this New York Community Bank was one of the banks that had to acquire some of the assets of Signature Bank. Why? As part of the bail-in to stop the contagion from spreading and otherwise taking down more banks in the process last year. But here's the thing. Now look what's happening. A year later, here we go. Here's a regional bank that's taking heavy losses, like we just saw right here, $552 million in loan losses. And what's happening? It's collapsing. And under, now I don't know if this is just the CEO throwing shade right here about having to be forced to acquire $400 billion of assets from Signature Bank. But either way, the fact of the matter is that's now debts on their ledger. Debts on their ledger, which isn't helping this bank situation. It's just not. Bottom line is, if this keeps dropping, this is going to be another bank that's going to be in the toilet. As far as I know, they haven't done anything with acquisition yet. Matter of fact, I think the price has come up a little bit on their stock. But how long can they actually stabilize this? Well, that remains to be seen. So let's put this all together. You've got Powell coming out basically saying, listen, yeah, more banks are going to collapse. You've got this bank right here, New York Community Bank, sitting already dropping its shares dropping through the floor. And that was in one day, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that when we looked at that chart. Don't know if we did. Yeah, exactly. Alexander's all over it here today. Appreciate that. And that's what they're doing. They're kicking it down the road. They really are. And now to that end, let's bring up, this is again, the one link I didn't put in the description of this live stream, and I apologize for that. But again, it's usdebtclock.org is the link to this. And here's the debt clock. All right. Talk about kicking it down the road. We are averaging $1 trillion of new debt every, 6 months? How long is that sustainable? It is not. This is kicking the proverbial can down the road as much as it can. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so you can see this upper corner. We're at 34 trillion or 34.5 trillion dollars in debt. This will affect us in our lifetime, in my humble opinion. I know Alexander just said like kicking the can down the road, and that's what they're trying to do because no administration wants it to happen on their watch, right? But it will affect us in our lifetime, which is part of why I'm doing the whole Living on Crypto series. Matter of fact, link to that entire playlist in the description of this live stream as well. If all goes well, I'll be putting out another video this week, probably Thursday, with regard to that particular series, and we're going to be focusing on bit refill. Again, if all goes well. If all goes well. Yeah, exactly. Flip the stretch already. That's funny. Yeah. Well, listen, them flipping that switch is a CBDC. Let's just put it where it is, right? That's them flipping the proverbial switch. All right. I've gotten through most of what I wanted to go through. I do want, you know what, I'm going to bring up a little bit of this interview that Alexander highlighted earlier from Kitco News. Again, link in the description below. And as you can see right from the title, charts point to war, and it's Garrett Cardone and Soloway on this interview. And we're going to jump into where Soloway is talking about how the majority of the country is probably middle ground here. And then we'll pop back to talk about the wartime charts. And then we'll sit there. We ain't stopping. Well, you know what, Alexander, you're probably not wrong there. You're probably so not wrong right there. But yeah, it's going to be turmoil in this country when it happens. And again, part of why I trying to do that entire series so you can prepare, and part of why, like you hear me say when we do DCA on Crypto on the Rocks every Friday, once I get through one section of the DCA, I give that money off to my grandchildren because they're the ones who are going to be suffering. We're going to suffer, but they're going to be suffering more than we are. Hey, 100 Air, welcome. 100 Air in the house. Yes, Holloway is generally quite a bearish guy, but let's give him a listen right here and see what he's got to say. And then, like I said, we'll pop back about Grant Cardone talking about the wartime charts here.
I honestly believe that a majority of the country is kind of like middle ground, and it's been hijacked on multiple sides by crazy sides that there might be some truth, but a lot of it is just creating this fear, and division is how other players get victory, right? I mean, that's how you divide and conquer, right? Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, it's like everyone's sitting at this table, whatever our much are. I know you're an amazing person. I know you're an amazing person. And that should never change, no matter if we go lean one way or the other, frankly.
Well, yeah, I have. Okay. And the point he brought out there is fear. That's what they're using at this point, to try and divide us as a nation. But, like him or not, Soloway, the fact is, I think he's spot on about the fact that the majority of this country, and I'm talking, I know I got people here from outside of the United States, but in this case, they're referring to the United States, that are in the United States who are middle ground people. They understand that people don't always agree on everything. Hell, people almost never agree on anything, let's be honest, right? But it's okay to have differing opinions, and it's okay to open your mind to other opinions, because guess what? You ain't right all the time. Neither am I. And that's why, to me, showing what I show on this channel is about showing you where I'm going, what I'm learning as I go. Not telling you to do what I do. Hell, that's why I say not financial advice, not a financial advisor, old guy on the interwebs. Okay, I don't know shit, but I'm learning. And as I'm learning, I'm trying to show you. Automatically. Yes, you noticed that, did you? Yeah, I should have chosen yeah, Gala's taken a boom since Friday night. Yep, absolutely right about that, Automatic Beats. All right, now Alexander pointed out in the live chat a minute ago about him talking about wartime charts. Hold on one second. Where is that? I thought it was early in this thing here. Let me find it real and risk of war. I think it's in this section he talks about it. So let's give that a quick listen.
We're going to stick with it. So like, you don't see Apple, for instance, or even some of these other stocks moving at 10% clips intraday that are multiple $1 trillion because there's so many pension funds in them and so many other asset portfolio managers. And I think that's what Bitcoin eventually comes. So eventually people that are in it for the quick buck are going to be like, well, this is no fun. It's like the gold trade, right? I mean, people aren't in gold for the quick buck. And you certainly don't make like 10, 20% in a day on gold. And it's going to be the same type of thing.
Well, you bring up gold, and Gary, it's interesting. The same day that
now, oh, Peter Schiff ain't gonna like that, right? Because yeah, you can't make those kind of returns on gold, even though last week he was sitting there crying because gold went up like $130 and nobody was even talking about it because Bitcoin hit new all-time highs. I'll tell you what, I love listening to that guy cry. Anyway, sorry, I digress sometimes.
Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, so did gold.
Yes, ma'am.
And gold continued that with another intraday high today. But what do you make of the fact that we've got gold, a safe haven, traditionally seen as a risk-off asset, hitting a new record high on the same day that Bitcoin, which due to the volatility is still seen as a risk-on asset, although the Bitcoiners would like to see it positioned as a safe haven store of value asset in the future, but still very much a riskier trade. Both of these assets hitting new record highs on the same day. What do you make of that, Gary?
I mean, look, I think we're going to war. You look at all the charts on everything, like it looks like war charts to me. We have a fake market. Like we just have to admit this is a fake market. It's a monopoly game.
All right. And for those of us in cryptocurrency, I would like to believe everybody in this, watching the stream right now already knows that. It's a house of cards, right? Wall Street is a house of cards. The economy is a house of cards. And that's kind of where I've been trying to point this entire live stream to the fact that I know, yeah, I'm sitting here, down in the little corner here. So, that things are collapsing all around. And the only way that they're going to be able to kick the can down the road, as Alexander said, or otherwise try to prop it up a little bit longer is to do what? Go to war. What was it? A month ago, 2 months ago, you had Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, basically saying, yeah, we can run multiple wars, blah, 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 because they'll just print the money. They'll literally print us into oblivion more than they're already doing. And, basically what he's talking about here is he's looking at the charts from a macro perspective and saying these are wartime charts. So let's let him wrap that up real quick.
You can say we're not releasing funds into the world, but we are indeed releasing large amounts of money. Fiat, currency. We're producing fiat. You can get zero information out of China right now. You think they're not printing? See, America's lost its ability to control the whole world. I mean, this is a global market now.
True words right there. True words. The U.S. I mean, look, you've got and I did an entire live stream, which honestly I forgot to even link in the description. Wasn't even thinking about that. Look at what's going on with BRICS. Look what's going on with them. I know during their meeting they ended up tabling the whole creating their own currency situation backed by gold and that kind of thing. But that's back on the table. They're working on that. And guess what? Guess what? They have a bigger portion of the world GDP than the United States. The United States has been going down with that regard for a long time because manufacturing is just not able to be profitable here in the United States, sadly. Anyway, sorry. But to his point that the US can't control it anymore. Just can't.
And people are going to print to survive. And they're going to take other actions to survive. And I think gold, I actually thought we were seeing a rotation from some of the old gold guys. I think that's happening. Some of the old 30-year-old gold guys are looking at Bitcoin. Any one of them that have 10 Bitcoin, and for 4 or 5 years, they're starting to look at Bitcoin very differently. It's actually, they're going to look at Bitcoin and go, oh, wow, this is what I wanted as gold. Speed, they never had that, right? Transportability, fragmentation capability without 40% premiums, right? I mean, in order for somebody to get one of those little Valkyrie things, it's a 40% premium on gold. So I think people are buying in fear of the market just being at max consumption on a bunch of paper products, things that degrade.
Yep.
Well, you made a pretty big statement, and it was something that you touched on when we spoke about 2 months ago as well. When you said we're going to war, do you mean a real physical war? What do you mean by we're going to war?
Yeah, where people get blown up, like kids die, and then we don't show it on TV. It's happening right now in at least 4 countries I know of. So, granted, nobody's talking about it really, but we're at war, and we haven't not been at war for a long time.
When you say we, do you mean the United States?
I believe the United
here?
States machinery, equipment, and that is printing. Okay, just because I don't build a tank or.
Okay, and now he's about to make a great explanation of the proxy war situation that's currently going on in the world. And I mean, he makes it very simple, but the point is the same. So give this a quick listen and understand that, we're already here. We are already here with what he's talking about. But what's the next step? Sadly. All right, let me let him finish talking.
Send the money to someone. I do a deal through Germany. I go, hey, Germany, I'm going to send you a new T1 tank, but I need you to send Poland your old ones, and then Poland can serve to the Ukrainians. I mean, this is a Ponzi scheme. It's just shuffling nuts.
Exactly.
So that the senators and the congressmen don't have to say, we actually just created $1 trillion worth of money supply because we made a commitment to give Germany some new tanks. Like, where does this money show up from? Germany can't afford it. Germany absolutely cannot afford this. So we're just moving things around on the chessboard, and sooner or later, this is what gold, silver, and I think Bitcoin was established for. This is why I'm not totally convinced that the S&P could just puke out, and I think it will. And I think short term, you would have a Bitcoin hit. You and I are great doing these shows because I never do any short term trading. It's not what I do for a living anymore. I don't want to do it. He does this 16 hours a day. He's got 5 guys back there looking at every chart.
Okay. They're going to get off topic here a little bit. So let me just bring that back up here. In Alexander, world was at war 2 or 3 years before you. Oh, I see you cut off. Okay. Before the U.S. joined. Yeah. And, the U.S. thinks it's being surreptitious about its involvement. And I guess maybe to the average person who's paying zero attention, who's literally just trying to survive, keep a roof over their head, food on the table, etc., it may be one of these kind of right over their head kind of things. But we need to get the word out. We need to be able to help people to be prepared for what's coming, because end of the day, it is coming. Yes, you're correct, Alexander. He did explain it perfectly. Nice and simple. Nice and simple. And the fact that he calls it a Ponzi scheme, I thought was perfect, because that's exactly what it is. It is a Ponzi scheme. It's us playing war with other countries. That's all it is. That's all it is. And those are the literal facts. The question then becomes, okay, so what do we do? What can we do? Listen, end of day, I started this whole thing out with showing you with an interview. Matter of fact, let me bring up one of the screens here. Now, the link to this entire interview is in the description of this live stream. I did an interview with Joel Valenzuela. This guy, again, living on crypto for over a decade, doesn't even have a bank account. He works right now with Dash. Dash is actually where I've started focusing because it's actually probably the easiest way to go right now with regard to the whole Living on Crypto series. So if you have not watched this interview I did with him, link is in the description of this live stream. Go ahead and watch that. And, it will give you some perspective with regard to the ability to be outside of the system. So when crap does collapse, when it does collapse, sorry, I was reading something, you're ready, or at least familiar. And that's the thing with this whole Living on Crypto series that I've got going right now, is trying to show you how you can go step by step by step. And even if you're just doing it a little bit at a time, like we talk about in this particular interview, to be able to pay maybe one thing with cryptocurrency and be able to navigate. In this case, I'm using the Dash wallet to be able to navigate Dash, the wallet, to be able to fund that, to be able to then utilize the wallet itself to find merchants in your area that are willing to accept Dash directly. And I go through that in the last video I did. And I'm going to be, again, utilizing Bit Refill in this next video. Bit Refill's been around for a long time. And depending on where you are in the world, again, I know I have people from outside the United States watching right now. You have different options in Bit Refill, or for that matter, in the Dash wallet, because merchants just change depending on obvious geographical locations. So what you have to access may change depending on where you reside. But the idea is that you are able to at least put yourself in motion to be able to do this. And eventually I'm going to get to Spritz Finance, which is going to allow you to do stuff like potentially pay your mortgage, let's say, or your I'm having a brain cramp right now, car payments, whatever, electric bills, that's what I was looking for. Holy cow. But again, that's a little bit further down the road in that series. So watch for the next videos coming out. If all goes well, I'll have it edited together and ready for this coming Thursday. I'll be better able to tell you that on my live stream Wednesday. So again, we've talked about the collapse of the New York Community Bank. Okay. We've talked about Fed Chair Powell basically saying that, guess what? More bank failures are coming. And our government isn't going to stop printing. It isn't going to stop spending. It is literally going to spend us back to the Stone Age. Let's be honest. What can you do? What should you do? Me personally, that's part of why I do what I do here live. I want to get the word out to people. More and more people need to understand. And frankly, if you ask me, I think that Bitcoin hitting another all-time high today is indicative of people starting to realize that, holy crap, I got to do something, or I'm going to be on the street when everything just falls apart. Because it just is. I mean, people are, again, you don't need to do anything more than go to the store and realize that you can no longer afford what you used to be able to afford even a year ago. Hell, 6 months ago, never mind a year ago. I mean, it is what it is. The inflation is just eating everything away. And that inflation is because we're sitting here as a country just printing it away, and our government is spending it, sending it overseas, whatever they're doing with it. I don't even want to get down that road right now. But the point is, you are responsible to you and your family, and the ability to be able to be prepared to be outside that system. Now, I think that cryptocurrency is the primary way you'll be able to do that. And I believe that you should be dollar cost averaging into crypto again every Friday night, 7 p.m. Crypto on the Rocks. I sit there showing you how you can take $25 and diversify your family's wealth. And you get to vote. Part of what we diversify into. So make sure you show up every Friday, 7 p.m. Crypto on the Rocks. Last week we had 4 people on and all kinds of people in the chat. It was great. It was actually great. Hopefully this Friday we'll have it again, and or even better, more people. But beyond that, you might want to consider, again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, old guy. I look at it, that's what I'm doing. I'm also putting in place the ability to be able to use cryptocurrency. And like I said, right now it's in the form of Dash, the Dash wallet, and then eventually into BitRefill. Like I said, watch for that video when it comes out, to be able to be outside of the system and do what I need to do in order to survive. Okay. But beyond that, you maybe want to consider doing something, gold's been money forever, right? I mean, you just heard in that last clip, the Kitco clip. So again, if you're just joining in, I see a bunch of people just joining in right now. If you're just joining in, links to all of the things I discussed today are in the description of this live stream. If you check out the Kitco news broadcast that I list there, I think you'll appreciate the entire thing if you watch the entire thing. But they were talking about gold and how gold's hit all-time highs. And with that in mind, it's looking like charts of war. And I get that. And sadly, I agree with that. But would it not make sense to potentially have gold or silver or both in your portfolio as well as cryptocurrency? I don't know, makes sense to me. And if you're looking for an option to DCA into gold, link in the description below for Acre Gold. Little as $50 a month. You can DCA into gold and they ship it right to your door. It's up to you. All right. I am going to wrap this thing up. I hope that I've given you something to think about. I hope that I've helped you to understand even a little bit about the bigger picture about what's going on. If I did, please share this video. And don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. I really appreciate that. If you happen to be new here, make sure you're subscribed and tick that bell icon, click the all so you get notified when I'm live. Right now, tomorrow, myself, FF, will be live on the Matrix Money podcast, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm still not 100% sure what we're going to be talking about, but I got to believe that the Bitcoin all-time high is probably going to be amongst the items that we're discussing. And then Wednesday, I'll be live 10 a.m. here on this channel. Matter of fact, speaking of the Matrix Money podcast, don't forget, starting this week, when we're live, we're only going to be live on the Matrix Money podcast channel. So if you have not already subscribed there, link to that channel in the description of this live stream. Go ahead and Make sure you subscribe. That way you get notified when we are actually live. After that live stream, we'll then rebroadcast it to our other channels. But if you're looking to be live for any of the giveaways that we do, and I don't think we're doing any this week, but any of the giveaways we do, you got to be on the Matrix Money Podcast channel. Again, I'll be live here Wednesday, 10 a.m. What am I talking about? Who the hell knows? We'll see. And then, of course, Friday, Crypto on the Rocks. I hope to see you here. All right, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for being in the live chat. Chris, Alexander, Mike, 100 Air. Who am I missing here? I'm just flipping through real quick to make sure I don't miss anybody. Automatic Beats. Chris, I think I said Chris. Appreciate all of you guys being in the live chat and helping to move this this live stream along. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Although I'm trying, there it is. Like, I don't know, my clicking ain't working. Thanks, Automatic Beats. Appreciate it. All right, that's it, everybody. Hopefully this was helpful, and I share it, man. Share the stream. People need to know. Peace, man. Appreciate it. Hey, you have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Matrix Money Podcast.